Scientology. The word itself carries an air of deep mystery. Is it a religion, a cult, a self-help group? For decades, Scientology has been shrouded in controversy, its inner workings hidden from the public eye. Today, we delve into the heart of this controversial organization with a former member ready to break their silence. This is their story. Our guest today was once a devoted Scientologist, drawn in by the promise of a better life. They believed they had found the answers to life's biggest questions, a community of like-minded individuals seeking truth and enlightenment. But as they journeyed deeper, a different reality emerged. Control, manipulation, and fear. The promises of personal freedom were replaced with a suffocating pressure to conform. This is the dark side of Scientology, the side rarely seen by outsiders. For our guests, like many drawn to Scientology, the journey began with a longing for something more. Scientology offered a structured environment, a community of people who seemed to have it all figured out.
Our guest vividly recalls their first experience at a Scientology center, where the atmosphere was welcoming, almost unnervingly so. It felt like finding a missing piece, a place where they finally belonged. The doubts and anxieties that plagued their life seemed to melt away in the warmth of this newfound community.
Central to Scientology's appeal is the concept of auditing, presented as a spiritual counseling technique.
The process of auditing was initially intriguing. Sitting across from an auditor with their e-meter in hand, our guest felt a sense of anticipation. As the auditing sessions progressed, our guest found themselves revealing their deepest fears and insecurities.
What our guest didn't realize was the insidious nature of this process. They were unknowingly surrendering their vulnerabilities to an organization that would later use this information to control and manipulate them. The promise of self-improvement was a cleverly disguised trap. One of the most seductive aspects of Scientology is its claim to possess absolute truth.
For me, yearning for stability and meaning, this certainty was both comforting and alluring.
Its teachings promise to unlock the secrets of the mind, body, and spirit.
The world outside, with its chaos and confusion, began to pale in comparison to the clarity and purpose I found within the organization.
Critical thinking was discouraged, replaced with blind faith in the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard. Our guest had entered a world of absolute certainty, a world where questioning was tantamount to heresy. As our guest delved deeper into Scientology, the control tightened.
One of the most insidious tactics employed by Scientology was the systematic isolation of its members.
Friends and family outside the organization were labeled suppressive persons, their influence deemed toxic.
Those who dared to question these practices were swiftly dealt with, labeled as potential trouble sources.
Financial contributions were heavily emphasized, with members pressured to donate large sums of money. The line between spiritual guidance and financial exploitation blurred. Within the carefully constructed bubble of Scientology, dissent was not tolerated.
I witnessed firsthand the chilling effects of this culture of silence.
Friends and colleagues who dared to voice concerns were quickly ostracized, labeled as enemies of the organization.
Members suspected of harboring doubts were often subjected to intense security checks.
The pressure to conform was immense. To question was to invite suspicion. To doubt was to risk everything. Our guest, once a fervent believer, began to feel a growing sense of unease.
The cracks in my faith began as whispers. subtle doubts that gnawed at the edges of my carefully constructed reality.
Inconsistencies in the teachings and the increasingly controlling behavior of those in power fueled a growing sense of unease.
The more I observed, the more I questioned.
The aggressive fundraising tactics felt more like a business transaction than a genuine pursuit of spiritual growth.
The turning point came when I stumbled upon a cache of documents hidden away in the organization's archives.
These documents detailed a history of abuse, financial impropriety, and the systematic silencing of critics. One of Scientology's most insidious tools was its ability to make members feel perpetually flawed.
This concept, while seemingly aspirational, became a weaponized ideal, a measuring stick against which we constantly fell short.
The pursuit of perfection became an exhausting treadmill, a never-ending cycle of striving and falling short.
The organization constantly reinforced the message that we were not good enough, that we were inherently flawed.
This manufactured sense of inadequacy served a sinister purpose: to foster utter dependence on the organization.
Leaving was no longer simply a matter of walking away. It meant abandoning the only path to salvation.
The more deeply embedded individuals became in Scientology, the more their lives revolved around the organization.
Friendships, careers, and even family ties outside of Scientology were severed, leaving us entirely reliant on the organization.
The organization, like a skilled puppeteer, manipulated its members' fears and insecurities. Perhaps the most devastating consequence of Scientology's tactics was the slow, insidious erosion of self.
Critical thinking, once encouraged, was now deemed dangerous, a threat to the unwavering faith required of true believers.
The spark of individuality, the unique perspective and critical thinking that made them who they were, slowly dimmed.
Relationships outside of Scientology were strained or severed altogether.
Individual aspirations and dreams were sacrificed at the altar of the organization. The decision to leave Scientology is rarely easy.
For me, that breaking point came after years of simmering discontent, a gradual awakening to the organization's true nature.
The final straw came in the form of a personal betrayal, a moment when the organization's true colors were impossible to ignore.
This betrayal cut deep, shattering the illusion of community and support that had initially drawn me to Scientology.
The world our guests had built for themselves crumbled away, leaving them feeling lost, betrayed, and deeply afraid. Leaving Scientology is often described as escaping a cult, and for very good reason. The organization employs a variety of tactics to control and manipulate its members, making it incredibly difficult to break free from its grasp.
Our guest knew that leaving would be fraught with challenges, that the organization would not let them go easily or without a fight. The first hurdle was overcoming the fear that had been instilled in them for so long. Fear of the unknown, fear of the outside world that Scientology had painted as hostile and dangerous, and fear of the organization itself and its potential for retaliation.
Our guests had heard countless stories of former members being harassed, stalked, and financially ruined by the organization. The message was clear. Those who left faced a life of hardship and isolation, cut off from the community they once knew.
To escape, our guest knew they had to be meticulous and strategic in their planning. They began distancing themselves from the organization, gradually reducing their involvement in activities and limiting contact with other members. They confided in a trusted friend outside of Scientology, someone who could offer support and guidance during this tumultuous time.
The process was agonizingly slow, every step taken with the utmost caution and care. Our guests knew that any misstep, any indication that they were planning to leave, could have dire consequences. They lived in a state of constant anxiety, their every move scrutinized, their every word carefully chosen to avoid suspicion. Leaving Scientology came at a steep price. Our guests lost friends, their reputation tarnished, by the organization's smear campaigns. They faced financial hardship, their career prospects limited by their association with the controversial group. And perhaps most painfully, they endured the heartbreak of estrangement from family members who remained loyal to Scientology.
The organization's attempts to silence our guest were relentless. They were subjected to a barrage of harassing phone calls, their social media accounts targeted with vicious rumors and lies. Their employer was contacted, their personal life laid bare in an attempt to discredit and silence them.
Yet through it all, our guest refused to be intimidated. They had tasted freedom, and there was no going back. They found solace and strength in the support of other former Scientologists, individuals who understood the trauma they had endured and offered a lifeline of empathy and shared experience.
The road to recovery was long and arduous, but our guest emerged from the shadow of Scientology stronger, more resilient, and more determined than ever to expose the organization's harmful practices. Their story is a testament to the indomitable human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope and resilience can prevail.
Our guest's journey out of Scientology is a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit, a powerful narrative of resilience and determination. Their story is not one of defeat, but of resilience, of finding the courage to break free from a system designed to control and silence, a system that thrives on fear and manipulation.
The scars of their experience run deep, a constant reminder of the manipulation and abuse they endured, scars that tell a story of pain and survival. Yet they have emerged from the darkness stronger, their voice a beacon of hope for others trapped within Scientology's grasp, a light guiding others to freedom.
The trauma inflicted by Scientology can linger long after a member leaves, casting a long shadow over their lives. The fear, the self-doubt, the difficulty trusting others, these invisible wounds can take years to heal, often requiring immense inner strength and support. Our guest still grapples with the emotional fallout of their experience, the lingering effects of a system designed to break down individuality and replace it with blind obedience, a system that leaves deep psychological scars.
But amidst the pain, there is also an undeniable strength, a resilience that shines through. Our guests' willingness to share their story, to expose the darkness they endured, is an act of immense courage, a testament to their strength and determination. They have chosen to use their experience as a catalyst for change, to warn others about the dangers of Scientology, and to advocate for greater awareness and support for those seeking to leave, turning their pain into a powerful force for good.
Their resilience is an inspiration, a testament to the power of the human spirit, to overcome even the most harrowing experiences, a beacon of hope for all. Their story reminds us that no matter how deeply entrenched an individual may be in a system of control, there's always hope for escape, for healing, and for rediscovering their own inner strength, a journey towards reclaiming their life and freedom. Our guest's story serves as a stark reminder that organizations like Scientology thrive on secrecy and deception, often hiding their true nature behind a facade of benevolence. They lure individuals in with promises of personal growth and enlightenment, offering a sense of belonging and purpose. Masking their true intentions behind a veneer of spirituality and community, they create an illusion of a supportive environment.
It is only by shining a light on these deceptive practices, exposing the truth behind the curtain, and by amplifying the voices of those who have escaped, that we can begin to dismantle the systems of control that keep so many trapped. These voices are crucial in our fight against manipulation and control.
We must be vigilant in recognizing the signs of manipulation and abuse, always questioning the motives behind actions, not just within organizations like Scientology, but in all aspects of our lives, where control can be subtle and insidious. Blind faith, unquestioning obedience, and the suppression of critical thinking are hallmarks of any system that seeks to control and exploit. These are the tools used to maintain power and control over individuals.
It is essential that we cultivate a healthy skepticism, to question what we are told and to seek the truth. To question what we are told and to trust our own instincts when something doesn't feel right. Trusting our instincts is vital in navigating through deceptive narratives. We must empower ourselves with knowledge, seeking out information from a variety of sources, and engaging in critical thinking to discern truth from fabrication, ensuring we are well informed. Engaging in critical thinking helps us to separate fact from fiction.
And perhaps most importantly, we must listen to the stories of survivors, to those who have experienced the insidious grip of organizations like Scientology firsthand. Their stories are not cautionary tales meant to frighten, but rather calls to action, urging us to be more aware, more discerning, and more committed to creating a world where such systems of control can no longer flourish. Their stories are not cautionary tales meant to frighten, but rather calls to action, urging us to be more aware, more discerning, and more committed to creating a world where such systems of control can no longer flourish. We must work together to ensure that these systems of control are dismantled and that freedom and truth prevail.
Thank you for joining us on this journey into the dark side of Scientology. Let our guest stories serve as a reminder to be vigilant, to be compassionate, and to never stop questioning the narratives we are told. Let our guest story serve as a reminder to be vigilant, to be compassionate, and to never stop questioning the narratives we are told. Together, we can make a difference.